Hello, thanks for joining me. I'm in the workshop this afternoon. I'm just doing some service work on my KTM. I've been out on a few longer rides just recently, and you know, the bike really takes a pounding when you're out, and in actual fact I'm just fitting new chain and sprockets on it. Trying out some new sprockets, not used this before, super sprocks. So the last lot of sprockets I had on, I was a bit disappointed with. They didn't last very long, so that one's a little bit more expensive. Going to give it a go. Anyway, I'm not going to make a video about changing the chain and sprockets. I've made videos about that before. What I want to talk about is something that came up whilst I was actually out on this ride with one of the other riders I was with, and that's about your on-bike toolkit. When you're out on the trails, the tools that you carry with you. Far more so than with road riding, it's really important to carry a toolkit with you, just a basic toolkit, because you're far more likely to need it with trail riding. You know, getting a puncture, falling off, you know, knocking a mirror that needs adjusting, or one of your hand guards, or breaking a lever or something like that, or something vibrating loose you needing to tighten up. All those sort of things come up when you're riding on really rough terrain. And yeah, so really I just want to make 2 points that are really important. One is that you need to ensure that the tools that you're carrying with you are the right tools, the tools that you're going to need. And secondly, you need to make sure that you know how to use those tools. Now that might sound daft, but I'm talking on the basis of something that's just come up recently with one of the other riders that I was with. I carry a reasonable toolkit with me when I'm out on the trails. KTM provide you with a pretty good toolkit actually, so I'm lucky. I don't need to supplement it with much, and I carry it in this is a Wolfman bag, which I find, and this straps on the front mudguard. I find that's just big enough to put my KTM standard toolkit in and all the extra bits that I want. By the way, people ask me sometimes, you know, doesn't it come off on the front mudguard? Never. In 10 years of trail riding with this on, it's never come off once, so it's not an issue. It's a secure and convenient place to put it. Unlike some other manufacturers, KTM provide you with a pretty good toolkit on the bike. Not only is it fairly comprehensive, but it's it's pretty good quality as well. But yeah, the two things that are important. One is you need to supplement that on-bike toolkit with other bits and pieces that you might need. So, you know, this is the basic KTM Tool Kit. You know, I've added in there a spare spark plug. There's some more cable ties there. There's some rubber gloves if, you know, we get involved with a really messy job. My rubber gloves just stick to me. There's electrical tape there. A couple of spare split links there for chains. Never needed it myself out on the trail, but supplied somebody else with that for a while. There's a multi-tool there which has got a decent set of pliers on it, spare levers, some quick steel metal putty there. That's a sort of two-part epoxy metal putty, very good for repairs. Again, a friend fell off to hold his radiator and I fixed it for him. That's a siphon tube for siphoning petrol. Somebody runs out of petrol, you can siphon petrol from one bike to the other, and a load more spare cable ties. You can never have too many cable ties. Anyway, my point is, I want to just make two important points this about toolkits. The KTM comes with a decent toolkit, but even then you need to possibly supplement it with other things, because we all fit accessories to our bikes, so like aftermarket hand guards, mirrors, other bits and pieces like that. They may have different fittings, so you need to make sure that you have the right tools to tighten up or to remove those fittings. So something came up the other day. Somebody's handguard came loose. It was an aftermarket handguard. They didn't have the right tool just to tighten it up, and all it needed was the bolt that goes in the end of the handlebar just nipping up, but they didn't have the right tool. The other thing is, you need to know what tools you're carrying with you. You need to know how to use them, and you need to make sure that they do the job, they work. So for example, if you have a look at this tool here, that's quite a nice sort of little multi-tool in that there's sockets on either end. It even works as a little basic tire lever, though I have to say I wouldn't fancy getting my tire off with that. But yeah, the thing is, can you actually undo your axle nuts with this nut? So that one's for my rear axle. Can you undo it? Because you may need to remove your wheel to fix a puncture, or you might need to adjust your chain or something like that. And if the tool doesn't actually work for you out on the trail, you need to replace it with something that will do the job. Some people buy these sort of generic aftermarket toolkits to carry on the bike, and there's a couple of problems. Well, I have a couple of issues with those. One is there's quite often redundant stuff in there that doesn't fit your bike, not right for your bike. So you need to go through it if you get one of those and just take out anything you need. What's the point in carrying tools with you that don't actually fit your bike, that you don't need? And the other thing is just make sure that they will all actually do the job that you've got there. So, sorry if that sounds like a bit of a rant, but actually what I'm trying to do is just offer some timely advice here based on what's happened to a couple of friends of mine recently. And the 2 points I'm trying to get across is, you know, if you're carrying an onboard toolkit with you on your bike, firstly, make sure you've got all the tools that you need there, the right tools for the common jobs that you will need to do. Obviously, you don't need tools for every job. You're not going to be adjusting your valves at the side of the trail, I hope. But you know, the basic things like tightening up loose fasteners, adjusting things, removing wheels, those are the kind of things that you need to have with you. And secondly, make sure that you know how to use those tools. So make sure you've got an appropriate toolkit with good quality tools that do the job, and that you know how to use them. It could save you quite a lot of anguish if you have an issue whilst you're out riding on the trails. So happy riding, thanks for watching, see you again soon, bye.